Greetings and welcome to Rightfully So. I'm Daniela, as you know, and today I have Mina Lee.
Hello.
She is, just like I, a realtor. We met a while back when I first started. She was on the team that I started with, and she has abandoned me since then. But here we are. How's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Thanks for coming along.
Absolutely.
So, real estate.
Yes.
How did you end up here and what is keeping you going?
So, long story short, my best friend, she was an operational manager for a real estate company. And she was like, you should get your license. I was like, okay, let's do it. Got my license, had a very great first week, closed the rental that was $4,000. And I'm like, this is it? I'm like, this is pretty easy. I'm like, let's do it. And that's how I got into it. Yeah.
And that it dragged you in and you
Dragged me in.
escape.
Yeah. Couldn't escape it. I got addicted.
One question that people always ask, and I'm sure you get it all the time, is how is the market?
Yes. So, yeah, obviously, as a realtor, I think that's like the number one question that we get asked. And I always say, okay, what are you in the market? Are you a buyer or are you a seller? So, depending on who you are, that's, my answer will vary. But obviously, as a seller, it's an amazing time because there's very little inventory in New Jersey. I don't know about the other markets, but in New Jersey, there's not a lot of listings and way more buyers. So, it's a great time to be a seller because most of the time, if you're pricing things right, things are going way over asking and you're getting pretty easy, great terms. As a buyer, obviously, I still tell them it's still a great time to be a buyer because, the home values have been appreciating very aggressively. All my clients that have bought with me in the past 5 years have all built equity. And some of them have sold with me and made tons of money. Yes, as a buyer and a seller, it's still a very, very healthy market, especially because of our location. Yeah, my clients are having a lot of success with real estate.
Definitely. One thing to always know is if you're ready to buy, then it's time for you to buy.
Absolutely.
If you're ready or need to sell, it's time for you to sell. So
Exactly.
the
Everyone
market
has a different timeline.
yeah, it revolves also on each individual person and
Yeah.
what your position is. Great. So, what is one question you often get from buyers?
I think I get often, what it takes to win, right? As a buyer, and as a seller, how fast can you sell my house? So I think those are the two most common questions that I get from buyers and sellers.
And what do you respond?
As a seller, again, I tell them if you listen to me, if you price it aggressively, it will sell very quickly. However, if you don't listen to me and you think that your way is the right way, it's possible that it might sit in the market, right? But again, a lot of my clients, they're very good listeners. So my sellers have had great success this year. Buyers, I do a buyer consultation with every single buyer that I get because again, I get a lot of buyer leads, but not every buyer is meant to be in this market. You're not. I'm sorry to say, but you have to have insane motivation to not just insane, but a real motivation, right? Whether you're having a baby, you're getting a divorce, there has to be concrete reasons as to why you are entering the market. Because if you're not, you're just going to be running around in circles and it's going to be a very, very tough time for you.
And you have to have realistic expectations. That's where that consultation is important.
Yes.
Because,
Yeah.
of course, we want to be so proactive and want to get you what you want, but it's out of our control when it comes to the numbers or.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. What are 3 towns, cities right now in Jersey that are your favorite or that you see them getting super poppin'?
Definitely, I think Hackensack is probably one of my favorite towns right now. I think there's a lot of growth there. The prices are still relatively, on the lower side, right? And again, I think there's just a lot of appreciation there because of the train station. It's a very great location. They have an express bus. It's an easy commute to the city. So I think Hackensack is really up and coming. I put a lot of my past 3 deals have been in Hackensack. Yeah, I just had 2 closings in Hackensack last week.
And Hackensack is huge.
Hackensack is
There's a lot of
huge.
options.
Yeah. And there's also a hospital there. So it's always going to have, it's a great place for landlords because hospitals will always have employees and it's always going to be a really great, I think, a strong rental market.
Yeah, nurses and all of that. It's a strong, even short terms
Yeah.
and stuff because there's like the traveling nurses and things like that.
Exactly. Right.
And a lot of landlords, some of them want to make that their focus.
Yeah,
especially in
short-term
very busy business areas or
Mhm.
hospital areas.
For sure. Another town, I think Union City has always been, I think people sleep on Union City,
Yeah.
and I tell my clients, I'm like, you have to check out Union City. It's changed a lot since I became a realtor. And I think you can get to the city in 15 minutes in some places in Union City. I think Union City is really clean. It's a great location, close to Hoboken, close to the city. Union City is one of them. And I think North Bergen is also one of them too. Yeah, I've been selling a lot of North Bergen.
I've been getting a lot of North Bergen. People are starting
yeah,
to
people are finding about
here.
yeah.
Like, yes, I told you.
Yeah. North Bergen. Prices have gone up, but it's like a middle area of like you're in Hudson, but you're also very close to Bergen. So I mean, I'm a Bergen girl, so I think that's why maybe I'm like, if I had to live in Hudson, I probably would live in North Bergen because it's still close to, Bergen and Hudson.
Makes sense.
So yeah, and they have really amazing restaurants there, and again, close to the city. So I think North Bergen is also a really hot.
And there's been a lot of attention going towards like Union
Yeah.
City and North Bergen.
Yeah.
So once you have people investing not only real estate wise, but also in shops, and
Yeah, absolutely.
restaurants, coffee shops, it just
Yeah.
makes the whole place appreciate in
Yeah.
a lot of ways.
Mhm.
And it feels a little more homey in a way that once you're like in Jersey City,
Right.
Hoboken, it's a little more hustle and bustle.
It's like city-like.
It's like
yeah.
it's very city like. They are
Exactly.
cities, but
Right.
it just, you get that proximity to New York, Manhattan, but you also get a little bit
The
of
suburb.
the chill.
Yeah, I agree.
What keeps you sane with all the buyers, sellers, and then every other party involved? Because we don't just deal with our clients. There's so many other
Yeah.
parts at play.
Yeah. So what keeps me sane are definitely my real estate coaches, my life coach. And again, I see my life coach and she's helped my business and life tremendously. Her name is Sarah Sanan. And if any of you guys want to connect with her, please reach out to me and I'm happy to connect you with her. She's really drastically changed my life in ways that unbelievable. Yeah. Last year I took a bunch of vacations and before that I would never even think to be able to think that I could even do that, right? She asks you questions where you really think outside the box. And obviously having a real estate coach, I'm with Tom Ferry. My coach, Stephen Kim, he amazing guy. I think I've been doing really well the past 2 years because of him. My coaches keep me sane. And of course, my friends, right? I love to go out. I think, because as a real estate agent, you're in high pressure a lot, right? So I think I love to go out. I love to get drunk.
All the fun
Am I allowed to say that? I don't know. So yeah, I mean, I just love to go out, enjoy, time with my friends. And after a good night out, the next day I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, let's
Sell
go.
some
Let's
places,
sell some real
send
estate.
some offers.
Yeah, exactly.
I
So
love that.
yeah.
And you don't know what you could do or what your options are until you find them. You didn't even think, can I have a coach? Do I get a coach? Would my life really change by doing that? And then you realize it's accessible. I could do this. They're going to literally help me be even more able to do this.
Exactly.
And they'll put me on this path.
Sorry.
It's no path that will take me further. And same thing with buying specifically. People don't know that it's attainable until you go and seek it and figure it out, get your file going and see what you could do.
For sure.
What does it take to be successful in this business?
I think in order to be successful, you really need to have grit, right? And you need to believe in yourself because in this business, of course, you're selling products, right? But mostly you're selling yourself because people have to want to work with you, right? I think I learned that in order to succeed in this business, it's about building relationships. You can't be so transactional, right? Even though we are selling, if you're transactional, you're not going to last long in this business. I think if you truly believe in helping your clients, that has to be your end goal. Of course, the money is great, don't get me wrong, but your true intention has to be that you are helping someone make the biggest financial decision of their life and you have to really want to help them, right? And I think that's why I knew when I first started real estate, it was hard for me. It was hard for me to get into sales, but deep down in my gut, I just knew you're going to be wildly successful. I just knew if I kept at it that I would become successful, and because I knew I had the right intention for my clients. So I think that's really huge.
I think that's what big part of what gets me going in it too. Is I feel sometimes I'm like, oh, is just like selling something, a tangible asset. But then I realized like, no.
it's for your
And I
clients.
love approaching each and every situation as unique, as new. You know,
Right.
when you lose that in any career,
Right,
think
right, right.
about it in the medical industry. If doctor just sees a million births every day and then they treat it that way, you feel it. But for you, it's your first time.
Right.
It's this dream. And like you said, one of the most expensive things you'll ever
It's a
spend
huge
your money
investment.
on, make a choice on, and carrying that with you when you are helping the other person. Even the selling aspect is you're selling something that might have been your baby for 25 years. Or like you made memories. Your
Yeah.
dog died in the corner. Let's not disclose that. I'm kidding. We disclose what we need to know. But yeah, it's really, it's huge. And remembering that also gives you motivation to keep going. Because you're like,
100%.
wow, look, they have their home.
There's no better feeling than going to a closing table and your clients are signing and they look at you like you are
Okay, not
the
like that.
world's best thing in the world. Like, I
Yeah.
think when my clients look at me like that and they're just so grateful that I got them there, right? I mean, of course, me and my team, all the attorneys and title people, I think that's the feeling that I'm like truly addicted to, and I love it. I feel like a hero.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to feel like a hero?
And then the ones that really make you feel like when you're like,
Yeah, you're right.
no, I visited clients that closed. They had their baby girl after they closed, and I'm having dinner with them and talking to them. Like, we cannot share this home or the story of this home without talking about you.
Of course.
Like, they've been so thankful.
Yeah.
Time and time again, you know. Then now I'm helping their friend make their
amazing.
new transition in life.
Amazing.
So it's beautiful. I love it. Okay, let's get away from real estate a little bit.
Let's do it.
Dating. How's dating as a realtor? Have you ever dated a realtor?
I don't think so. I don't think I've ever dated a realtor. No, never dated a realtor. Dating is not easy as a realtor, I think, because we have very, complex schedules and we're kind of like on call all the time. I mean, right now I'm not really focused on dating because, I'm focused on my career.
On this money?
Yeah, on this money. But no, I mean, I think obviously I don't know if I would date in the industry.
Yeah.
It's a, I don't know.
The boys have kind of that rap. Like, there's
Right,
firefighters,
right,
policemen.
right.
I think realtors are right around there.
I think, I don't know if I want to date a realtor. Maybe I'll date like a lender or definitely a developer.
Contractor.
No, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Contractor, yeah, maybe.
Handy.
Yeah, that's true.
Manly hand.
I'm just kidding.
Let's be serious.
Okay. Yeah. No. I mean, I think. Yeah. Next question.
Is real estate like selling sunset?
Absolutely not. It is nothing like it. I mean, I think selling sunsets just shows the glamour of being a real estate agent, right? Because it's true. We get to look at nice houses. We get to dress up. We get to drive nice cars, go out to nice dinners. But that they're just showing the good side of being a real estate agent, right?
We don't wear heels every single moment.
First of all, I never wear heels.
You don't want to.
I don't want
It's
to.
a hazard.
It's a hazard.
And not every house looks lovely.
Right. No, there's a lot of things that selling sunset does not show. Negotiation is not that easy. Like, hey, we're going in at 10 million. Okay, offer accepted. No, that's not how it goes. So I think, is it like selling sunset? No.
It could be at moments, right? If
be at moments.
A nice event, everyone looks nice.
Absolutely.
But you can have those moments anytime.
Yeah.
With anything.
There's moments where I really doubt my career. I'm like, wait, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I doing this again? And then I have to bring myself in. Okay, yeah, that's right. Okay, I forget why I'm doing it. But it's definitely not an easy industry. You gotta have some tough skin to really make it in real estate for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it
moves so fast here where we are.
Yeah.
Maybe, in slower places it's like cute, but
it's like cute.
Here it's like
it's tough. It's tough. Yeah, it's definitely tough here. You really gotta have the right motivation to really want to stay in this business.
Yeah, for sure. Now we're gonna get a little, just because I know Mina. Yes. I followed her, and there's parts of her life that I've seen and I know of. Yep. I know you lost a sister.
I did. Yep.
Can you share a little bit about that? How she was?
Yeah, of course.
And how you cope with loss? How you made it out of that?
Oh God, this is a deep question. So my sister passed away when I was 19 and she was 17. She had leukemia for 15 days. She actually didn't die from leukemia, but she died from sepsis. So it's a blood infection. She was just really weak from the leukemia that when she got sepsis, she just couldn't fight it. How do I deal with the loss? I was 19. I was a sophomore in college. I didn't know what was happening in my life, and when she first passed away, it was very difficult for me, obviously, but I also didn't know how to deal with the emotions. I was going out a lot. I was probably going out like 5, 6 times a week. And I think that's how I was able to cope with it. I was just kind of yeah, I was trying to distract myself. Just getting really drunk, spending time with
The new,
the new year. Yeah, I was really abusing alcohol. That's how I was able to cope with it in the beginning. But obviously, as time goes by, I was in therapy for a very, very long time. I've been in therapy like as soon as my sister passed away because I knew that this is, I don't know how to deal with this, right? So I knew I had to get a therapist. I made bad life choices, obviously. I was in a dark space in my life and I felt like I had the urge to like act out. Going through those life changes really, really changes you, and it really helps you grow. I think I was, dealing with it in a very immature way. But again, I was also 19 and I think that was the only way I think I knew how to cope, right? Yeah.
But
So,
it pushes you eventually
yeah.
to really cope.
Yeah.
You probably needed that pause of let me not think about it. And then I know one day I'll get to the healing of it
Right.
and really facing it a little
Right.
more.
I mean, I knew that I'm a very self-aware person. So I knew that this is a big traumatic event that happened in my life and that I had to really deal with it, right? So, which is why I seeked out help. I stopped partying. Well, not stopped partying, but less parties. I knew my life hit rock bottom at one point, and I was like, okay, I need to really get out of this. And that's when I decided to get my real estate license. And since then, I really, real estate really, I could say really changed my life, as corny as that sounds, Yeah, like getting into real estate, I think I found a purpose in life that I'm like, you know what? Like, I really want this to work for me. And I think going through such a traumatic event, there was one point in my life where everybody felt so bad for me, right? Because my sister just died. So, of course, my friends, families, everyone in my life, they felt bad for me. And I think having all those eyes look at me that way, it put this fire in me that, I need to make it in life. I need to show all these people that even though something horrible has happened in my life, I overcame it. And I think that's every time I got tired of real estate, like things weren't working out. Because again, real estate was tough for me the first 3 years. That's what kept me going. I was like, no, Mina, you got to keep going because I know you have it in you to make it. And that was my big why that I needed to prove to everyone and ultimately myself because, I really wanted to prove to myself that something terrible has happened, but I overcame it. And I think that's what kept me going.
Do you think you wanted to switch it from Mina, something horrible happened to you to let me give them something else to say,
oh, amazing.
So amazing for you.
Yeah,
You're doing so
that's
well.
exactly.
You wanted someone to look at you with different eyes.
Exactly.
Like to put that on the back burner and focus on like the positive part.
Exactly.
Because you don't want to feel that. And you have that reminder every time that you know the
Exactly.
look, you know what
Right.
they're going to say.
Yeah. Always asking me like, how are you? Every time it was like, how are you? It's like, I can see,
How are you?
Yeah. How are you? And I'm like, I'm great. I wanted to really show that like I'm thriving, and I think I made it. I think I done that.
And I feel like you're such a good sister too. Because
Oh,
you have your brother.
I do have a little brother.
And you're number one fan.
I am his number one
like
fan.
Foam fingered next to him.
Yeah.
Anything he does. Do you feel like the loss of your sister also made you focus on I need to really immerse myself
with my brother
and in his life and support him and love him and appreciate his life?
100%. Because me and my sister, we were very different. She was a child of God, went to church every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I was not like that. I would go to the club Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we were a little different. But I think
and close in age.
Very close in age. We were only 2 years apart. Yeah. So I think because I wasn't so close with her, when she did pass away, there was some regrets on my part, right?
That void.
Yeah.
What could have been if I was closer to
Exactly. Yeah. And I felt like there was a lot of regret and shame on my end. So when my mom got pregnant a year after my sister passed, I just knew that I can't believe I got a second opportunity to have a sibling. And It's pretty, I'm pretty obsessed with him. He's 12. He's like my son, even though he's not. And
Yeah, you would think. I think if you don't know that's your brother,
Oh yeah.
it's like,
Everybody,
is that her child that she's
yeah.
with all the time
Yeah,
on dates
yeah.
and
Yeah.
watching every single game he does?
Yeah, he's
Jumps in the
baseball.
puddle like,
Yeah.
oh.
So yeah, I think that's really, I just know that when my brother was born, I knew that him and I would have something very, very special.
I feel it's important to think about those things with the people you have in your life right now, because you
Regret
don't
that.
want to, you don't want to have those what if.
Of
You don't
course
want to.
not.
And I hearing from someone who has had loss is a reminder even to myself.
Yeah.
Luckily, the biggest loss I feel like I had that directly impacted me really was my dog.
Oh, I know.
And
me too.
and it's like that's been the
Oh my
biggest. Thank
God.
God, I lost my
No.
grandparents, but I wasn't really super close
Close
with
with
them.
them.
There's a sadness for
Yeah.
my parents because they knew them.
Yeah.
I feel more bad for how they feel than myself. I can imagine. So I try to focus on what do I need to do today so that I don't have those regretful feelings when, God forbid. I also wanted to touch on something else from before. How you said you were very different from your sister.
Yeah.
And you grew up the same way, right? Same parents, same household.
Yep.
How do you feel like it's more nature versus nurture or nurture? Like what's the bigger portion when it comes to how you become?
I think it's both. Because I think my sister and I had very different personalities, right? I was very outgoing. I always wanted to be out. I loved being around people, I love being around people. I like thrive. I like get energy from people, where my sister was kind of an introvert. She liked her alone time, so I think given that situation, and then obviously like the nurturing part is like my parents, right? I was a rebel, I was a rebel. I did bad things. I got in trouble. I stayed out late, I sometimes just, I never
But
listened.
they supported both of your personalities?
Yeah. I mean, also I was like kind of uncontrollable, I guess. Yeah.
You're a wild child.
I was a wild child, yeah. But again, I don't know what made me like rebel like that. I'm not sure.
Maybe you said it that you get energy from being around people.
Yeah.
I think
I just kind of did whatever I wanted, And I think, but again, that's just my personality. And
I do what I want.
yeah, I kind of do what I want still, but with more, respect.
Yeah.
I'm still going to do it if I want to do something, I don't want permission. But that's also how my mom and my dad taught me to be, that I could do whatever I want. I could be whoever I want. And I really leaned into it, I think.
That's the thing, right? The nurture part of it.
Yeah. They let me be like
one
this.
person takes it one way.
Yeah.
Another person takes it a different
Exactly.
way.
So that's
and
why I
you
think.
run with it.
Yeah.
And you really ran.
I ran with it. I really ran with it. Yeah.
I love that though.
Yeah.
That's another question I like to ask people that I feel are good people or just like enjoyable to be around or successful. Like what did your parents do to help assist that? And I guess that's what it is. They told you
my
could
parents
do
are
it.
so supportive. I'm honestly so grateful for them. They're not the regular normal Asian parents. They didn't send me to like SAT schools and stuff like that. They let me go to the
You're not a lawyer.
Yeah, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a doctor either. Well, damn. So yeah, but my parents, they were so supportive. Came to every single like sporting event, school event. So yeah, I had very supportive parents, and I think that really, I think it's nature and nurture. Yeah, it's your personality. It's it's
your personality has a lot of it. So I think it is nature, a lot of it though.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
your nature is what allows your nurture to do what it
influence
does.
it. Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
One perspective or belief that goes against popular belief or against the grain, as you would say.
But I'm gonna pick it goes kind of against my culture, right? Being an Asian woman, you're kind of expected to be this quiet, gentle, cookie cutter housewife, right? But that, let me tell you, I'm the last thing. I'm probably on the other side of what I'm supposed to kind of be like, right? And I think I'm really grateful that I have parents who kind of let me be me, right? And me, I'm very career driven. I think my career is probably the most important thing in my life. I really care about my business. And it's important for me to grow my business. And everyone knows that I care about my business. It's just everyone knows.
A given.
It's a given. Yeah. So I think that's probably the number one thing that I'm, my parents, they don't push me like to get married, to have kids, so I think that's probably my biggest.
Yeah, you rebelled against your culture. And I think not only your culture, even outsiders expect that.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You see someone in Asian culture, and you're like,
Right.
oh yeah, they must be, top doctor. And like, no, I'm an artist. You're like, well, you ventured off.
Right, exactly. Right.
But that's cool.
Yeah.
And that it gives you also a sense of I definitely can do whatever I
Right.
want. And no one's
Exactly.
gonna stop me.
Right.
Oh, well, this has been so fun.
Yes.
And now we're gonna go to the pool.
Yeah.
To the pool. A hot day. Well, thank you.
This
I
was
appreciate
fun.
it.
This was fun.
See you next time.